music during this 3 weeks, and also about the minhagim of the meat and wine. So legabe the music, I reposted where the shiur and sfira by sfira sa'omer legabe music. It mamash applies the what we said about sfira sa'omer over here. So you could I reposted that you could listen to that shiur. It's over there. And legabe the meat and wine. So it's brought in Tov Kuf Nun Aleph in Shulchan Aruch Seif Tes. Yesh no yagim shlo lechel bosor shlo lishtas yain b'Shabbat zu. So the first opinion the Mechaber brings, they're not to eat meat and not to drink wine. B'Shabbat zu, meaning the week of Tisha B'Av, Shavua Shechal Boi. The Ramo brings over there, Umutar b'choymet shel yain, that you're allowed to have vinegar, that's not wine. Then he brings another opinion, the Mechaber, v'yesh shemoisifin mirosh chodesh ad hatainis. Some start already earlier than Tzuvah Shechalba from Rosh Chodesh, and then he brings the third opinion, v'yesh shemoisifin miudzayin b'tamuz. So those are the three minhag. L'maisa, what we do l'maisa? Which minhag we have? So first of all, before I say the minhagim we have, so the Kavachayim brings over here that the reason the Mechaber bring all these three opinions, he says to tell you shaminag minhag. It's not some minhagim are not minhagim. This is our minhagim. All minhagim have basis. V'yesh lo smach kamavur batur. That's all have origin. Well, and Ritzon Elohim shakol tzrichim lasas kain. He brings from Sefer Beis David. That doesn't mean that you have to do according to the most stringent minhag, unless there's minhag amokim. If it's not minhag amokim, you don't have to go and be machmir according to the first according to the last minhag that from Yudzayin B'Tammuz. Even though he brings later on from the Tur that the word no Yagim says, the Tur says minhag Ashkenaz hayichidim, not everybody, just the yichidim, people that are nimnoim bostov Yudzayin B'Tammuz ve'elach. Yeah, and then he brings some Seder Hayoim, as Talmud Arizal, Roy l'chol odom Talmud Chochem, lino ken miyudzayin b'tamuz. If you could do it, if you're not weak enough, you don't need. And he brings also from Reb Shmuel Vital, from Bishara Kavonis, he brings over there that Arizal did not eat meat and didn't drink wine from all the 3 weeks. But again, it's only for Yechidim. But the minhag Rova Olam don't start from Yudzayin B'Tammuz. So Rova Olam really they start from Rosh Chodesh. Within Rosh Chodesh there is two minhagim. The minhag of the Sfardim, the Rosh Chodesh itself, they eat meat and drink wine, covered Rosh Chodesh. The minhag of the Ashkenazim, they already start doing this minhag of not having wine and meat on Rosh Chodesh also. It's brought over there. What is Chabad from Rosh Chodesh. Normally it's Rosh Chodesh. It's an inyan to make a suuda, but since this is such a month that it wasn't such a, I mean, Begillah company wasn't such a good month, and it's also Yortzat brought as Yortzat from Aaron HaKohen, Rosh Chodesh itself. So that's why the Kohen Minhag Ashkenazim. It starts from Rosh Chodesh itself. In Rosh Chodesh, you don't eat meat and wine. The Kodesh Sfardim, it's right after Rosh Chodesh. I'm a little bit surprised why Sfardim do that, because a lot of times they follow the Arizal. And the Arizal did not have wine and meat the whole 3 weeks from Yudzayin B'Tammuz.
Exceptional Shabbos.
Right, besides Shabbos, we're going to talk about now. Okay. Now, the Gabe, the Ramo Ed over there, you're allowed to have choimetz, you're allowed to have vinegar. Wine, of course. Even it's wine and vinegar, you're allowed to have it. So he says that there's a shaila. What happens if you have a wine? Could you put also not just wine vinegar into your meat? Obviously, people don't drink wine vinegar. They use it for cooking or for a salad. So could you cook with the wine itself, or maybe the chumrah was
turn
only
the vinegar as you cook it.
Oh, so he says like this. So the Taz says, "Im nisarev yain v'tavshil, aval b'sheish b'tam yain mutter." Mashma for me, it's only lechatchila. You should not do that. If already it was done such a thing, you're allowed to drink it. Miu brings from the Elyer Abba Delfia minik shnagul eser av betafshel shel bosor. He says yesh lahachmir. So like this, lemaisa is definitely lechatchila. According to both of them, you should not do that. The loshon of the Taz, even this arev yain, he was mixed. Lechatchila, the machlokes is really only lechatchila. You should not do that. There's no, and if you're already done. This is not the Isur of the whole Isur of wine. Originally was Erev Tisha B'Av. The whole thing is minhagim. So we're not going to go and say throw away the food if it's done during the night with the wine. But if it's done, it's mutter ba'achila without a problem. Like I said, the original Isur of wine was to drink it Erev Tisha B'Av, not to do that. So Mimela, if it's lechatchila, you should not mix wine in the food. But if already done, the food is not awesome. Okay. Now, we already spoke about the Gaber Rosh Chodesh, like I said, the Sfadim start after Rosh Chodesh, but the Ashkenazim start from Rosh Chodesh. Now, the Gaber, what kind of meat we don't eat during whatever the minhagim of the 3 weeks of Rosh Chodesh, Shavuot, Shechal Boy, says, okay, Yesh Mish Oimer. That's I'm reading from the Mechaber. Shanoyagim shel echol bosor b'yomim haniskorim mutorim b'tavshil shenizbashel b'bosor. We're not talking about the isur. According to the minhag, it's only when you the real meat itself. But if you cook together in a pot meat and something else, the meat you don't eat, but the other food you're allowed to. L'chor, according to this would be. The cholent, the choyre, after Shabbos, if you remove the meat or you finish the meat, a lot of times the cholent becomes part of during Shabbos already. People eat all the meat, they leave the cholent. So the choyre, according to this, you should be able to eat the leftover cholents during the week if there's no meat over there. However, some say if there's if it's a real fat over there, the tafshes b'shumon, that should be.
That cholent has that.
Right, so cholent will be osor. I'm saying here, Venira, he says the shuman shel bosor dina kebosor atzmoi v'osor lechol tavshe shesh bo shuman. Then he brings like this: V'idna nehige alma le'esor af tavshil shel bosor v'osor l'shanes haminagas from the Magen Avraham and many other poskim. The might say Shulchan Aruch writes tavshil shel bosor mutar. Then they write it says if it's a real shuman like cholent, it is a shuman shel bosor over there. But then he writes the minhag is even there's no shuman. Let's say there was in the same pot, but there's no something fatty. What?
The kishke, for example.
Why you think it's not shuman? It's not. It's a separate human because it's separate. Okay. Or any other food, let's say rice and meat that wasn't too much shuman over there. The minhag is lamaisa not to eat any tavshil shel basar. Lamaisa we don't eat. That's the minhag. So after Rosh Chodesh and on, or those which start after Rosh Chodesh, we don't eat even tavshil shel basar. Oh, now like this. Legabe chicken. Asurim basar oif. You're not allowed to have chicken either. Basar maluach. But basar maluach means cold cuts. You cannot have cold cuts, even though it's not a real meat. Also. Then even like this, the mechaber in v'yayin toises that's also awesome. Meaning that's grape juice. Basically, somebody asked this before of you. Grape juice is also, even though it's not choshuv, it's not a meshaker. You don't put it on a party. Usually, you don't drink this. But the might say that's lo plug. We don't have any of that.
We don't have anything that has fleishings. It's not fleish. You can't have anything fleishings.
Right.
Fleishings is everything. Like even most kishka is made out of fat. That's fleishings. There's a parv kishka, but real kishka also is made out of
Okay, so you're right. Anything that
chicken dishes are the same halacha as meat dishes.
Yeah. Right. So the same thing. Umuta lishos yain havdol birkas hamazon. We already spoke about this. That the yain havdol or birkas hamazon, according to Mechaber Muta and the Ramo adds, if you have a child, you give it to the child. If not, you do it yourself. We already spoke about it. The Aruch HaShulchan writes in this place the minhag was they did on sheikher, on a beer or something else. Lamaisa. Since the whole thing is a minhag to do it before, and it's mitzvah to do havdalla, you should adrabah. You should not do on havdalla on a sheikher, because you could do havdalla on a sheikher only when there's no wine. If there's wine available, so and the whole thing is mitzat ikar, then you're allowed to have wine now. It's not the minhag. You're doing for the mitzvah. You could do if you have no child to give it to. You could do havdalla on a wine.